The modern period in Britain emerged in 1901 and lasted till 1965, and it sought to break from tradition and redefine literature, art, and social structures. If we look at the socio-political changes of this period, we'll see that the rigid moral and social values of the Victorian era begin to decline, making way for individualism, skepticism, and social liberalism. The Representation of People Act 1918 gave voting rights to all men and some women, with full suffrage achieved in 1928. This led to increased political participation and shifts in governance. The women's suffrage movement and changing social norms led to greater independence for women in society as well as in literature. The feminist movement officially began occupying space in the political sphere by becoming an organized movement. Feminist studies grew, and more women began writing about women's literature and women's experiences. The devastation of war led to disillusionment, existential crisis, and loss of faith in traditional institutions. This leads to a severe crisis of reason and departure from one's sense of self, especially among war veterans. Sigmund Freud's theories on the unconscious mind influenced the period, emphasizing introspection and psychological depth. Many modern writers, like T.S. Eliot and Virginia Woolf, reflected this in their works. Post-World War I, anti-imperialist sentiments grew, leading to decolonization movements in India, Africa, and Ireland, further challenging Britain's global dominance. If we look at the economic changes, we will notice how, while Britain had long been industrialized, the early 20th century saw technological advancements in electricity, automobiles, and aviation, transforming daily life and urban landscapes. But the Great Depression, leading from 1929 to 1939, led to mass unemployment, economic hardship, and political instability, increasing disillusionment with capitalism and traditional economic structures. This was not only due to the wars, but because the empire had lost a major source of its income, its colonies. People looked up to the Soviet Union, which had taken up socialism and was growing economically even after the war. Thus, they began demanding a socialist system as well. This terrified the capitalists, and therefore, after World War II, Britain moved towards social welfare policies to create a system of not pure capitalism, but a socialist democracy, which had space for capitalism to flourish within the government's welfare policies. This included the establishment of the National Health Service in 1948, marking a shift from imperial expansion to domestic well-being. If we look at the cultural changes during the modern period, the writers and artists experimented with form, structure, and perspective, moving away from realism of the Victorian age to a more fragmented, subjective narrative, something that James Joyce called as a stream of consciousness technique. The rise of newspapers, radios, and films changed communication and entertainment, influencing how people engage with art, literature, and with each other. So this was the world during the modern period. Modernism is an umbrella term. It includes various movements like symbolism, imagism, futurism, Dadaism, surrealism, collectively known as the decadence. Apart from that, you also have stream of consciousness, existentialism, psychoanalysis, the avant-garde theater and minimalism, phenomenology, and the Frankfurt School. I will talk more about modernism in literature in detail in this video. If you like this lecture, have a look at this one.